Servus, guten Abend. Und es geht gleich mal weiter mit Witch on Holy Night oder Mauskai no Yoru. Well, watching the events play out, Tsubimaru found himself deeply impressed with Soichiro. He could tell from Aoku's behavior that she was trying to get a rise out of Soichiro. Soichiro, on the other hand, was none the wiser to what Aoku was doing, so he simply went about his way. To Tsubimaru, it was hard to believe that Soichiro had not taken offense. All he observed was the performance of her lifetime in Soichiro as he maintained a poker face.
Yeah, でも何が強いんだろうな、会長.
He looked at Aoku curiously. Aoku was completely still and staring at the wall. Aoku showed no response.
おい、会長。青崎。青子女子。おい、聞いてんのかよ、青崎青子。
会話ね。青を呼ぶな。
Her fury echoed across the ceiling across the room. It was beautiful sound that could be heard into the hallway, and made Tsubimaru's rant from earlier pale in comparison.
やかましい。うるせえのはてめえも同じだ。
Miss Megaphone. Perhaps the shouting was still ringing in his ears, or he was just the type to answer a shout with a shout, but he shot back reflexively.
そんなんだから男の一人もできねえんだよ、お前は。ほら、目覚めたか？
別にあなたの声は聞こえてた。煩わしかったから無視してただけよ。黙らせるの面倒だし。
てめえな、俺はカカなんかか、おい。
コミュニケーションが成立しない点で言えば、あっちのがまだ上品よね。
Me net.
ほう、その心は？
お互い何を言ってるかわからない。意味のない会話なら、仰せみたいなものでしょ。
Based on this, Oku must have been under the assumption that dating is an act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other.
問題は、お前にとって意味のある会話ってのがどの程度の価値かってことだが、いつになくきついじゃねえか、青崎。
ちょっとね、今愛嬌を振りまける状況じゃないのよ。
不思議。この2年間で青崎の愛嬌なんてものは見たことがないんだが。
飛び丸のいない時に振りまいてたの。
そうかよ。やっぱりあの時のこと恨んでるんだろう、生徒会長さんはよ。
There was only one thing Tsubimaru could be talking about. The incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer.
ずいぶんと昔の話じゃないそれ。そんなどうでもいいことに容量を使っちゃもったいないわよ。ただでさえ脳の覚醒部分が少ないのに。
Nett, Aoko. Aoko ist echt eine bessere drin. As the conversation wore on, Aoko's murderous aura began to fade, and her sharp gaze gave way to a calm demeanor rarely seen from her. It was quite possible nobody besides Tsubimaru had ever seen a side of her in school before.
ご忠告どうも。俺だってあんなことは忘れてよ。ただ、さっきその字がバカなこと言いやがるから、つい思い出しちまったんだな。くそ、考えてみりゃ場所まで一緒じゃねえか。
Despite his ranting, his face betrayed a touch of nostalgia. Aoko, on the other hand, was squalling.
ちょっと待って。あの話、彼にしたの？
ああ、俺がてめえに、なんで会長になんか立候補したのよ。あんたは副会長って顔でしょ、どう見ても。なんて挑発されて、 生涯最高の月をしたところまでな。
I could have decided as if relieved. Tomorrow had not told Soichiro the rest of the story. Even she wasn't sure why.
あれは確かにびっくりするぐらいいい月だった。思わず体が反応しちゃったもんね。ところで私そんなこと言ったっけ？
言った。しかも俺が保健室に運ばれたのをこれ幸いと強引に副会長にしやがった。
Since that day, Tomorrow had served as the vice president to the person who would usurp the role from him.
いいけどな。俺に会長職合わねえって分かったし、副会長の方が性に合ってやがる。会長なんてやってたら危うく親父みたいな野郎になってただろうしよ。
プライド高い分できることは全部やるからね、飛び丸は。会長職に先進するあまり気がついたら優等生になってたあんたも見たかったけど。
やめてくれ、ゾッとしねえ。猫かぶるのはお前だけで十分だ。
Tomorrow shoot Aoko away like an annoying pest. It was a typical example of the crude verbal abuse they exchanged on a daily basis, with witness that only two long-time foes could manage.
で、なんでそんな話したのよ。
は？
半年前のここの事件を。
ああ、そっちか。いや、あいつがバカなこと口走ったからなんだが。
He stopped himself from saying anymore. He knew better than to let slip the fact that Soichiro had a thing for Aoko. Everyone knew guys didn't sell each other out like that, if it was, in truth, a misunderstanding.
それより、さっきのはないんじゃねえのか、青崎。お前、宗十郎に恨みでもあんの？7
日以上前の恨みを引きずるほど私はお姫様じゃないつもりだけど。
He wanted to resort to things that she was more like a queen than a princess. But whoever came to her too well over the past 2 years to dig himself into a hole like that.
恨みはないね。それにしちゃ恋に喧嘩売ってただろ。確かに調子の狂うやつだが、あいつほどいいやつはいねえだろうに。おい待て、なんだその足元のシロアリを見るかのような態度は。
別にあんたまでそのセリフを言うのかって心底から見下げ果てただけよ。まあいっか。いいやつ、いい人、結構じゃない？喧嘩を売る相手としちゃ上等だわ。誰も憎んであげないなら。
She said casually, having retained her composure.
しないとねって、お前。
Toimaru could not follow her reasoning at all. Toimaru was used to Aoko's erratic trains of thought, but hating Soichiro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel. His friend's naivete and innocent face came to mind, and then he blurted.
けど、宗十郎は青崎が好きなんだぜ。それでも嫌いなのか？
His nerve silence had lasted not even 2 minutes.
いや、今のはな、青崎。
He tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All that he could hope for now was that she would take it well.
そりゃそうでしょう。好き嫌いは誰にもあるし。けどこればかりはね、彼が私と仲良くしたいって言っても私は嫌いなんだから仕方ない。
Stone cold Aoko. Yep. Toimaru found himself filled with indignation at how detached Aoko was being.
いや、そんなお友達感覚の話じゃなくてだな。そういう好き嫌いじゃなくて、その字は本気でお前に惚れてるって言ったんだよ。
He shot his face, the embodiment of sincerity, and the other gave a blank stare. It was the face of someone who had lost the wallet house earlier and was only just realizing it now. The first instant of doubt that ushers in the reality of the situation. But the instant is all it was. Ne? She answered coolly, as if she had no idea why it should better to her at all.
出ときたか。鬼でもなけりゃ悪魔だな。お前って女は。よかろう。聞こえなかったのならもう一度言ってやる。
Tuyaru gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard.
いいわよそんなの。つまらないもの。
She ruthless cut him off. Thinking of boys who still harbored unrequited love for Oko, Tuyaru tried hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him.
なるほどね。それでさっきの話に結びつくわけだ。へえ、柄にもなく友達思いじゃない？殿下。ってことは、聞くも無残、語るも無情っていう私の噂話、教えてあげたんでしょ？
She laughed as a fiendish smile adorned her face. Tuyaru repented to God, whoever and wherever he or she might be, forever bring up Oko's love life.
飛び丸にしちゃ正しい判断ね。褒めてあげるから、どんな話をしたのか聞きたいな、私。
She was smiling, but Tuyaru wished she would at least try to hide the bloodlust.
代表作とここでの事件を2つばかり。
Oko nodded with satisfaction as she listened to Tuyaru's hesitant answer.
こういう時、噂話って便利よね。うるさいのを追っ払ってくれるから。でも、そんな話を考えなしで広めたら大変だから。
Had this been in writing, the chillingly sweet tone of her words could have been signed with her heart. Whether angry or happy, Oko spoke in disturbingly cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tuyaru took note of this new discovery, aware that it did nothing to get him out of the situation.
ああ、俺も命は惜しいからな。口はもう滑らねえよ。けど、青崎、本気で宗十郎が嫌いなのか？
He knew that it was a topic he would better avoid, but he tried asking anyway. The bonds between men, at times, she's more beautiful than a pearl.
まあ、好きじゃないから嫌いっていうわけじゃないけど、私が彼のことを嫌う理由は自分でもわからない。だからダメなのね、きっと。
Perhaps to placate Tuyaru, Oko paused in computation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant that not even he could complain.
そうか。まあ、そういうことならしょうがねえか。何しろ、綺麗さっぱり感情論だ。お互い理由もなく好きと嫌いじゃ、手を貸す隙間もねえわけだし。
Thinking that would be the end of it, Tuyaru looked up toward the ceiling and silently apologized to Soichiro. However, his final tests appeared to have piqued Oko's interest.
待って。今の、どういう意味？
Her fox cheer had vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tuyaru answered nonchalantly.
いや、あいつもさ、青崎に惚れた理由がわからないなんて言いやがってな。ああ、違ったか。理由なんてないなんて意味だったかな。
Tuyaru was still in disbelief that Soichiro had been charmed by Aoko's appearance, so he purposely left that part out.
理由はないですって。
ああ、なんで。 俺がいくらお前の噂話をしても無駄だった。天津さえなんて言ってたかな。そうそう、理由はどうあれ青崎の心配は本物なんだとか、自分はそれで助かってるとか。俺はっきりしてんのは他の野郎どもと違って噂を聞いても手を引く素振りなんざみじんもなかったってことだけ。
Tomato Fanny noticed the shift in her costume. She was scrolling at the wall. She glared at the silence like it was a worst enemy, and this continued for several minutes.
何それ。さっきといいそれといい、どこかで聞いたようなことばっかり。
So great was the ire that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. The irritation achieved until it reached a point that Naoko forgot to be Maru was even in the room. Tomato looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he would brought further calamity down upon Sushiro's head.
少しわかったわ。なんであいつが気に食わないのか。
Tomato looked away, as if to indicate that he would rather not know, but Naoko ignored him and began to grumble venomously.
あいつ、私が嫌いなやつと言動が似てるのよ。誰彼構わずいい人扱いされるところとか、妙にふわふわしてるところとか、いちいち私の勘に触るところとか。
Glancing idly up the clock, Tomato thought the last part just sounded like a misplaced anger. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone.
わかった。もういい。この話をした俺が悪かった。で、俺に用ってのはなんだよ。言っとくけど、もう授業始まってるぜ。
え？授業って、なんで？いつ？
いや、さっき総の字が出てってから青崎がギラーンって壁に睨んでた時にチャイムが鳴ったんだよ。いいのか生徒会長。
いいわけないでしょ。なんで黙ってんのよあんたは。
She looked like she was on the verge of tears as she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Tomato raised his hands in mock surrender, a gesture reserved only for the true victor.
あの方がエレガントなんて言いやがった仕返しだ。思い知るがいい。男の純情を踏みにじったり焼き殺したり。
Thank you back to me, Maru.
相変わらず細かく根に持つ男。言動には言動で返しなさいよね、卑怯者。
She tightened his necktie around his neck with a yank. The vice smiled a thuggish grin as the reaction made his victory that much sweeter.
お前の古典が破滅に向かっているのは周知の事実。そして A 組の5次元目は言うまでもない。藤代のばあさん。青崎のこと嫌ってるしな。
Fujiro had been one of the longest tenures in the school, so it was only natural she would be in charge of teaching the classics.
こんなところで俺のネクタイを引っ張る余裕があるのなら、急いで自分の教室に立ち返るがいい。情けだ。別に止めはしねえよ。
くそ、あんたなんかにはめられるなんて。このまま死んでしまえ。
Ich mag ihre Gesichter. As Oko put words into action and mercilessly strangled Tobimaru, he saw his life flash before his eyes.
いや、待て待て、本当に死んじまうだろうが。今ならまだ間に合う。10分過ぎたら遅刻から欠席扱いだぞ。
Oko glanced up the clock. It was still only 7 past. Her route was from the student council room to the second floor to Class A classroom on the third floor. If she ran, she could make it.
命拾ったわね、飛び丸。
I can collect her tongue. Disappointed. What disturbance was Suimaru? Did this sound like an empty threat?
あと放課後ここにいて頼みたいことがあるのは本当なんだから。
Just halfway out of the room before she even finished the sentence. Finally, all alone, Suimaru closed the open door, locked it, and slammed into a chair.
たくああしてる分には楽しいやつなんだけどよ、青崎は。
Der Tisch ist gut poliert. He leaned back and creaking folding the chair and led it out of sight. The weather also was beautiful, but the sunlight warned it earlier in the winter. Before long, daylight would fade and the uneven student council room would grow colder and colder. All of the good equipment like the heat had ended at the main office, so no choice but to settle for a chilly afternoon.
こんな天気が続けばいいんだがね。天気予報じゃまた雲行き怪しいって話だが。
After Samus suggestive monologue, Tomorrow mind drifted. He either wanted himself, whatever Soshiro was, an overcast day or a clear day, sort of guy, but no answers came. The school day is over. Soshiro headed straight to his shop. While the student approved his shops at the Chinese restaurant and the fish market in Misaki shopping district, there was other work he had mentioned to them. And it was not because he knew that they would complain at him working too many, but rather because of the illicit nature of the job in particular. Today's workplace was a pachinko parlor in front of Yashigori Station. Soichiro changed out his school uniform and into a black fox tuxedo uniform and began cleaning the storefront. Yashorogi was the jewel of Misaki City, a busy place with a vast assortment of commercial centers and shopping arcades. Where there were people and moths, there were products made in moths. A romantic might describe it as a place of joy. A realist would note the free enterprise, and a cynic would point out all the garbage. Local authorities attempted to beautify Yashigori, but there was one basic tenet of society they could not overcome. The establishment was the embodiment of that rule. Businesses such as this attracted the dregs of society, and such as the front of the parlor had to be cleaned several times a day. So she stood outside in the winter cold, stripping used up cigarette butts, picking up discarded flyers and tossing empty cans into the trash. Something like that it must have reminded him of the mountain life, because he should have really finished the job with ease. After making sure the storefront was acceptably clean, he returned and sat of the area where it was nice and warm. Blinding lights, defeating the leaping sounds, and the oppressive odor of tobacco assaulted him as he passed through the parlor on his way to the office.
店長、外回りの掃除終わりました。
はい、ご苦労様。それでいいかな。2階の40番台のお客さんの様子見てきてくれない？どうも懐に飲んでそうなんだよね。あのお姉さん。
His boss was a good macho man who used to work at a desk job. The reason he employed someone like Toshiro, even though he was clearly a student, was not because he admired him for working his way through school. It was because all of the other employees were scary and intimidating, and he wanted at least one employee who was not.
いいんですか？トイレの掃除まだですけど。
いいのいいの。なんかね、カメラの死角にいるんでいまいち確証取れないの。そうちゃん、今のところ的中率 100% でしょ。様子見てきてくれないかな。
Here Soichiro put away his cleaning equipment and headed upstairs. It was a typical large pachinko parlor with 2 floors. The place itself of being a local establishment that was satisfied with taking the locals' money little by little without resorting to more exploitative means. But regardless of the parlor's intentions, its customers were not so scrupulous. Among them were casual players, professional gamblers and cheaters, looking to profit by exploiting whatever loopholes they could find. Of particular prevalence was a device developed in the mid-80s that could disrupt the machine's stability from the outside and make it much easier to get what was called a 777 jackpot. As much as the parlor wanted to deny these cheaters entry, it needed to present hard evidence of cheating or risk of losing customers. Particularly in the service industry, innocent to prove guilty was not a rule taken lightly. As a result, they could only punish customers they caught in the act. Such as cheaters were known as gotoshi, a slice of society which Soichiro knew nothing about. Gotoshi. Gotoshi heißt wirklich Pachinko-Swindler. Nett. What he didn't know was that they were inconveniencing his employer and violating the rules. He went upstairs. The radio and the game machine sounds on the second floor were quieter than the cacophony downstairs. There were 100 game machines on the ground floor and over 80 on the second, while there were some empty seats here and there. It was a solid evening turnout. The machine mentioned by his boss was in the center aside. Soichiro nonchalantly leaned back against the wall and watched the customer hit the jackpot over and over again. Taco! The second he saw her, his gut told him that she was not cheating. Hype! Hype! Hype, hype, hype! He still was not sure what made someone a master swindler, but if it was meant they were special, this woman certainly fit this description. It was almost as if he could feel the luck emanating from her. As the customers looked on her silently, turned the handle again and again. She appeared older than Soichiro. She wore a green form-fitting one-piece dress. A pair of stockings covered her legs. Her slender legs were gracefully crossed and her elegance suited painting better than a casino. Her dark reddish hair was cut short in a bob, perfectly framing her stylish spectacles and crimson lips. Truth be told, something was off about this picturesque beauty, ringing the jackpot over and over again. 4 boxes worth of pachinko balls sat at his feet, and her winning streak showed no sign of abating. She looked bored as her slender, proclaimed fingers lifted a long cigarette to her lips. Du kennst ihre Schwester? Das ist sofort. Cross the spine, her gaze turned towards the wall, and Soichiro. Suddenly a chill ran down his spine. He reflexively covered his mouth to keep from shrieking. After appearance, Soichiro took off running. He headed straight downstairs, steps without to be on the same floor as her. He would have run straight out the door, but for his obligations to his job.
店長、早退します。それと、2階の人は問題ないです。
He tried to keep his composure as he spoke, shaping his scooter from with the paper bag as he ran out of the parlor. Cloudy never brought the shadow of night over Yashigori as he ran through the shop arcade town toward the station. He shot up long staircase like an arrow, quickly pulled the stray pass from his wallet and passing through the ticket gate. The ticket gate was crowded with people standing around, walking and talking. The station attendant by the automatic ticket machine had an unpleasant look on his face. There was no familiarity, conformity hustle and bustle around him. Just another day in the city. Nothing like what he witnessed the night before. He was finally breath again. The momentary rush of relief brought him to the abrupt stop. He nervously turned around. There was no way the dangerous individual could be behind him. He couldn't think of a good reason for why he would lead so desperately. As far as he could remember, he hadn't even seen the threat's face long enough to form an opinion about her. Soichiro gave himself a good slap on the cheek to pull himself together and quickly made his way down to the platform. Ich mag ihren ersten Auftritt. The next train was 10 minutes away, and panicking would do him no favor, so he quietly found an empty seat and sat down. He took another deep breath. He was surrounded by people, waiting for the train just like he was, and no sign of life pursuing him. His head finally cleared up, and he assured himself that he was overthinking things. For he was surprised at how heavy his shoulders felt. Soichiro sighed at his greater than expected fatigue. He had certainly struggled since coming down from the mountains, but in retrospect, it could have been worse. Physically, he was not probably holding up fine. He was much less confident in his mental state. The city in the mountains could not have been more different. He had been slow to recognize the difference in the depth. Acclimation was simple enough. Humans were nothing if not adaptable. Even without any effort, one would learn to adjust over time. Recognizing the challenges had been the hard part. Soichiro grumbled and complained he would never utter before. He was still afraid to wander around town. There were so many things city people took for granted that Soichiro had yet to grasp. It was little wonder that his never-ending chain of surprises would be on him. He muttered to himself, then shook his head. That which exists, such as was the way of all things. Toyamaru had called it a hallucination, but Soichiro knew what he saw was real. The city was a magical kingdom compared to the mountains. If there were real magicians secretly living here, it should have been no surprise at all. The thought alone made his legs tremble. It took him a moment longer to realize that they were quivering out of fear. He had feared the unnatural ever since he encountered a wild bear on a mountain path as a child. Soichiro smiled as he recalled his traumatic childhood memory. able to faint at the sudden appearance of a growling beast that towered over 6 feet tall. The monster in the movie that Soshiro saw not 2 days ago was like kind of a cuddly stuffed animal when compared to the wild mountain creatures. He was reminded that he would face far worse before, and this ordeal now was something he could endure.
そうだよな。今の問題はちらっと聞こえた最後のセリフか。
At face value meaning.
そうだよな。
At face value, the meaning was obvious, but the implications were simple too frightening to contemplate seriously. Perhaps he had misheard the words, or perhaps the speaker had misspoke.
このルール。誰かがきっと罰しに来るか。
Even if we say that, the idea didn't feel quite real. It was hard to imagine that it applied to him. Soshiro breathed in and closed his eyes. His vision dimmed, putting the illuminated cityscape out of sight and out of mind. For now, he resolved to put last night events behind him. When he opened his eyes, his breathing had
そ
calmed.
れでさ、青崎を殴りつけようとして結局どうなったんだ、トビ。
The question sharply popped into Soshiro's head. He decided he would ask next time and stood up from his chair. A long streak of light blazed by, announcing the arrival of the next train. Trophäe erhalten, it's like that every day. Ah, okay, das heißt... So, was war schon wieder eine neue Szene? Kapitel frei. 3. Frei. 3. Nights. Let me tell you how the events of yesterday transpired. On moonless nights, you must never look back. Was it a lesson or was it a warning? It was so very long ago, at a time I could not have imagined what what my very being would become. Oh, one night, it came without warning. I was filled with anxiety so heightened that it made me want to burst into tears, so I fled to my grandfather's workshop. Unlike the grandfather I knew, he smiled and kindly placed his hand upon my hand. Yes, the red death follows you, your every step. Rather than consulting me, he sent me home with only those haunting words. Tonight I'm certain that I sensed a shadow lurking behind me. Something or someone was watching me from afar. Then, little by little, year by year, it grew closer. Eventually, the presence that once felt like a spot on the horizon grew so close that if I could feel its breath down the base of my neck. Of course, it was all in my mind. When I turned around, nobody was there. But that night marked the beginning. In hindsight, I later understood that the indescribable anxiety I felt was the dread of a certain death. How much time has passed since that night? It lingered deep in the recesses of my mind, where shattered memories are kept. A faded storybook esque memory. On dark nights I still hear the faint echo of my grandfather's words, But no matter how strong the wind may howl, or how entrancing the song of the girl next to me, I could never bury his ominous words completely.
ご到着ね。
The girl beside me said. Alice's inflectionless voice spoke volumes of a role as the bystander. That night there was only me and her. It was the night that would mark as the birth of who I am today. For what I should have been quite the memorable night, it sure was a promising start. Dense clouds blocked the starlight above a black umbrella. Strong wind tore through the sky, carrying the heavy clouds with it. The hands on the clock in the middle of the park pointed skyward as if reaching for the moon. Unfortunately for them, tonight there was no moon to point at. The winter air grew fiercer as the night wore on. Inhaling felt as tough it would freeze from the inside. The air chilled me to the bone, threatening to pass up my spine directly to my brain. To prevent my mind from being paralyzed, and to prevent my fingers from becoming stone, I sparked a fire using my internal rhythm and motion.
触覚を譲るわ。幸運ね。あの位置なら刻んでおいたウィスプが止まる。
I responded to Alice with a nod, and then for just a moment I saw the ground. My legs quivered even so faintly. I told myself they were shaking from the cold, but I wasn't sure. In reality, they may not have been enumbed by the cold, but fear, a breath, a sigh of relief. My humanity must still be intact if my emotions are still present. Before I could sink into a pool of my own sentimentality, the sensations from the battlefield flowed from Alice into me. A transparent wall covered the entire park, and I recognized the carpet rooted deep down under the earth. Alice Guanchi's chants of the Mother Goose fairy tales permeated the night. The sensation became one with my body. I felt goosebumps on my quivering right arm. Someone would have trespassed. The goosebumps crept up into my arm like ants. It slowly, surely made iron rows for my heart. Holding back the desire to drive them out, I waited for them to reach a certain definite position. A moonless night. The park's quaint street lights were not enough to lift the darkness. The ends came to a stop. Far, far from my right arm, they reached my very heart. Even without the aid of my sense of sight, I could see the intruders lurking in the darkness. To stop or what? In the bushes about 30 steps back, on all fours, it was beckoning with its right hand. The enemy movement and my perception of it were on lockstep. I spun around. The enemy's arm stretched out like a spear. The lethal weapon aimed at the back of my head, brushed my hair at breakneck speed. With the ominous view granted by Alice Ward, I managed to avoid it by the skin of my teeth. My hair fanged through the air from the violence of the attack. The attack grazed my cheek and I felt a small sharp pain. I felt like the kiss of death. I switched the flow of my body's blood to a different cycle. The blood running through my veins at a few feet per second transmuted into an imaginary element. My body became a single circuit and my heart transformed to a completely different engine. An unknowable motion of immeasurable heat. A mystic yet untapped by humankind that made me who I am. The fire of life behind all miracles and fables. This is what we magicians call magical energy. I turned around, set the enemy in sights, and held up one hand. My arm was the agent of my will. My lack of experience meant my magic would only be possible through use of vocalizations and gestures. Magical formula were engraved all over the park. All I had to do was ignite them. I need to direct the flow of the magical energy with my body into each formula. Typical mage acts as a conduit. Whether wired or wireless, the mage simply pours magical energy into the formula. Releasing this energy in the form of a projectile stream or any number of other methods would usually suffice, but in my case it was the feeling of my limbs whipping out. I fought speed with speed. The enemy's arm extended 10 feet forward, became engulfed in flames. It was nighttime in the park. This scene is reminiscent of a campfire, but one in which the center of the flames contained a humanoid figure, ringing like a shadow puppet. The flames subsided as unnaturally as it had ignited. No crackling, no burning smell.
結界返すわ。死体を確認するから。
After taking this to LS, I headed towards the motionless figure. I killed it. I killed it. I killed it. Regardless of who my opponent was, I just took someone's life. My throat purged as I swallowed the truth. Without a sense of reality, I would have been helpless. So hard and bitter, impossible to swallow, but tried to do anyway. I was unnervingly calm. My heart pounded and my breath felt heavy, but my mind was nonetheless calm. By the time I realized that charred remains were already in front of me, braced for a counterattack, I carefully examined the corpse. Everything seemed fine. The body lying slumped on the ground was nothing but ash. But something wasn't right. To begin with, it remained smelled organic. Not willing to believe my hunch, I took a closer look at the corpse's face. All that greeted me was the featureless white face of a mannequin. Screaming, I kicked the mannequin. The corpse crumbled to ash and disappeared with the wind. No, this was no corpse, it was just a puppet, and for all our efforts to lure the master out, we had once again been tricked by a familiar. My debut, my first test out in the open, will be postponed for another day.
いつになったら一人前にって。あれ?
At the moment I suddenly noticed something familiar in the corner of my eye. Something strange about the side of the other end of the park. It appeared though the shadow were larger than it should be. Was I still drunk of the high of the battle? It took me a sec to this what it was. Calling out was a mistake. Cyber voice, a figure wearing a familiar high school uniform, took a step back and then it broke into a sprint, like someone running for their life. I should say he was doing exactly that. Then Russia shot at my partner, but she hadn't even noticed the third party's presence in the first place. That was not if I could move by myself. Embarrassing as the fact had taken more of me than I would have liked. There was no time for niceties. For us, being seen here was the matter of life and death. Shaking off the numbness in my legs, I made it for the park exit. It took my eyes escape. The witness party to the entire night's proceeding. It had disappeared into the darkness of the residential district without a trace. Complaining to myself, I would bring back the figure in uniform. But at my own incompetence, I gave up the chase. Though temporarily the park had become Alice Woods. For anyone within a few feet of the park, other park goers identified the features and voices became murky, like all the stuff of fairy tales. Tonight's proceedings may have been witnesses, but if our identities were still hidden, then this was still a chance.
あの背中、男だった。
I returned to the park. The uniform was, without doubt, from my high school. That was a clue enough. If he was a schoolboy of mine, he had plenty of methods to flush him out.
しても、どうしてこう問題ばっかり増えていくんだろう。
Amidst my grumbling, I set priorities straight. Before some strange rumor spread, I need to seal the witness' mouth shut. That was the highest priority, quickly and without mercy. Looking up, I saw Alice's previously distant figure. Thought she was in much trouble as with her existence as a Magus also exposed. Shit, but one thing to say.
これは困ったことになったわね。
Her stellar figure staring into the darkness seemed more expressionless than calm. I was pissed off. Her inscrutable voice resembled a moonless night so much it made me angry. Das ging ja schnell. Ich würde sagen, das ist der perfekte Punkt, um aufzuhören. Wir werden wahrscheinlich morgen weitermachen. Dann mal adios und vierte.